IBIS Ripmo, a long loan slack 29er. Why have I been so excited to ride this one? Well, I've become a bit of a Jeff Kendall Weed fanboy, and watching him toss the Ripmo around like a BMX bike, I had hopes that this bike would refuse to be defined by its geo chart. Briarcliff Bikeworks organized a demo at one of my favorite trails in Westchester. It's Graham Hills Park in Pleasantville. That's just outside New York City. The temperature is predicted to be in the mid-90s and humid, pushed up the timetable to an 8 a.m. start, and I had an hour-and-a-half drive to get there. The demo driver agreed that medium would be the right fit for me. I'm 5'9", and I've grown to like reaches in the 430 range, and bikes with a top tube of around 600 millimeters. The Ripmo comes in at 446 reach and 603 in the top tube, but brings the seat tube up to 76 degrees, which is a big part of why the increased reach doesn't feel overwhelming. The large goes up to 471, and the XL is all the way out to 493. The seat tube is nice and low, so you can run a long dropper post without issue, even on the smaller frames. The loop I chose gets right to the climbing, and while there is an initial feeling that the Ripmo can't hide, that it's a 30-pound bike on 2.5 wide trail tires. Once you're moving, it pedals very well. If you bounce on the seat, you can actually feel the initial support. I did flip the X2 lever to firm up the shock, but it felt unnecessary. There was a lot of support without it. My local trails are all quick up and quick downs, so flipping the lockout switch gets annoying fast. I always look for a platform that works well without it.
Yeah, that was a horrible line choice right there. How's it going? Come on. All right, so got the Ripmo medium. XT brakes, Eagle drivetrain, Fox Factory 36. Reset the fun meter. Really gotta look ahead in the street. It's coming up. I haven't been here like a year. Oh, almost lost it there.
Now let's talk about that front end. With the 2.5 wide trail mini DHF and Fox Factory 36, that front end was planted. It only took about 3 turns in the downhill section for me to feel comfortable and just started pointing the wheel wherever I wanted to go. This bike felt unfeasible in rocky, rooty turns, and was definitely not even scratching the surface of its capabilities. When I jumped back on the 5010, my honest first thought was, wow, this bike kind of feels like a toy.
Whoa, slid down that. Rear tire did not make the skinny. Just kept on behind.
Let's talk about my comparison with the 5010. Rolling out in the parking lot and dropping into this short rocky section over the bridge, a major difference in the front end plushness and weight were felt. The 5010 was less inclined to just roll over what was in front of it without having some deflection. And even though I currently have the Pike set up to 150mm, the initial plushness was nowhere near as nice as the Fox. This could be down to the older design of that fork, as I recently rode a Nomad with the new Lyric RC, and that fork also felt very plush on the small and medium-sized tech. Now there was a feeling, I'm going to have to say this is a bit subjective, but the position of the Ripmo put me in while descending. While feeling a bit higher, it also felt a lot more confident. The front center is longer, and I think IBIS nailed the weight balance in this one. If I had a racing enduro, I would much prefer the Ripmo. Now, this confidence didn't come at the price of nimbleness or playfulness. The Ripmo would pop off small features, change direction, pump and manual with ease. I kept thinking how much fun this bike would have been down on my trip to Pisgah. I think this bike would be perfect for bombing down Bennett Gap or Kitsuma.
You alright?
Now comes the part when we need to talk about what I didn't like about this bike. With only 4 miles on the ride, I can't call it a full review, it's really just a first ride, and I really didn't find anything that I didn't like about the bike. You do, though, need to consider what trails you will be riding on, because for my local trails, this is not the ideal bike for the job. You can tell this bike just wants to go fast. I'm going to see if a local shop can rent me one for the day, and I'll take it up to some more aggressive terrain. I really want to see what it can handle. Let me know if you're considering a Ripmo in the comments below.